sit down, grab a snack, and chill because I'm gonna tell you a story about an animated series called The Solar Opposite, where aliens shrink people, put them in jars, and put them inside a habitat they have in their wall. And this is the story of those people in that habitat called the wall. These aliens don't care who you are. They randomly choose strangers and they dump them inside this wall, bro. And inside this wall, these people fall into an unexpected world of survival where all these people now, they have nothing in common besides the fact that they all shrink down, and they have to figure out how to deal with their situation and find themselves in a very violent and cruel world, because when there's no law, people go absolutely crazy. Okay, that's usually how human nature goes. We fall back into our primal, bro. Now the crazy thing and interesting thing about the wall is that they're very tiny, so everything is like they use toothpicks and they make the best out of all the things because everything is huge and it's super awesome. You gotta check it out. It's The Solar Opposites on Hulu. It's actually an amazing story, and as you can see right here, they're inside the wall in the aliens' room. The crazy part about this is that they make these people survive in there with only candy. They only feed them candy, which is insane. People could not survive only in candy. Diabetes, toothaches. Imagine being with a toothache in a place where there's no dentist. So the random people go in there all the time, but this person in particular is very important for the story because, like I said, nobody has anything in common and they have to figure out how to live inside their new circumstances, inside this world. And it's literally a terrible place because people are terrible people, okay? So now she actually goes in there and finds this out immediately, but she is rescued by, I think his name was Tim, I don't even remember, but this changes everything because we're really made by our choices. Our choices matter. Whether we think we're doing the right thing is another story because that's crazy, but them getting together actually builds a whole new dynamic. They're very important for the story. So in this dystopian world that is chaos, there's a leader, because of course there's a leader. Humans cannot live without a leader. That just happens. Whether the person puts themselves in power through tyranny or they're elected, there's always a leader that controls everything, no matter what. And in this case, the leader is the guy called the Duke. And the crazy thing is it works like any world. There's the poor and there's the rich, and the people that are poor live in the bottom of the wall, and the people that are rich live in the top. And the people in the bottom have to work and struggle to live, and they have to run all the power and the water of the wall, while the people on top just reap the benefits with little effort. That's just how power always is. There's always somebody in the top abusing the rest that are in the bottom. And of course, nobody likes to live like this. This is literally how the problem starts. He runs the wall with tyranny and power, but at the same time, how do you rule a lawless wasteland? That's the real question here. How are you supposed to rule a lawless wasteland? So, you know, you got the Duke and he's got his minions. He has them kind of like running each sector, keeping everything under control, how he sees fit. And of course, the people that are in benefit are going to love him, while the people that are suffering are going to absolutely hate him and see him as a tyrant. That's usually how it goes. It all depends what side of the coin you're on. So they have to figure out, how do they keep the people under their thumb? How do they keep them under control? So like I said, they're very important to the story because they literally initiate the revolution. They start a revolution where the working class from the bottom of the wall start a rebellion against the Duke. And it was initiated by them. They literally made a team basically, and they started rallying everybody up to go against the Duke and stop this tyranny that they're suffering in the bottom of the wall. And as people that are abused and suffering, everybody just drops their job and agree. Nobody wants to do this, so everybody rallies against the Duke, and they start the first revolution of the wall. Not war, the wall. And they start the first revolution, and they go to fight the Duke in the top of the wall. And everything seems to be going perfectly fine for this revolution. They're doing a change of regime, basically. And the Duke finds himself in a very sticky situation where they're about to break in and get him. They're literally a few minutes away from getting him. So he does the crazy and over-the-top decision to pull the plug on the people in the bottom. Doing this. And he completely unleashes water over the whole bottom of the wall for who knows how many floors, completely devastating all the people. Whether it's children, old people, male, whatever it is, male, female, whatever, whoever, everybody ends up being a victim of the Duke. Now, you obviously gotta understand, somebody that does this without remorse is definitely a monster, ain't they? They're definitely a person that has no redemption, a person that has no conscience. So when they reach the Duke, he actually escapes through a hole in the wall. And they weren't able to get the Duke. And that's the crazy part about it. He always had this hole in the wall that he could have used at any time. And everybody from the wall could actually escape through there. They don't have to live in the wall. The crazy thing is that the Duke chose to stay in the wall, even though he could escape, because in the wall, he had power. And power corrupts people. And now they have a choice. Are they gonna escape through the wall and everybody get out? Or are they gonna remain in the wall and take power? Since they already defeated the Duke, now there's a seat of power that has nobody sitting on it. So a choice has to be made. But what is that choice? What choice exactly?
Some see it as our curse, but I see a gift. We can build a world that's better than the before four.
And of course, like any leader of any revolution ever, they decide they're the one that should be chosen to rule over the people. They're the ones that will know better. Under their reign, they're not gonna be like the person before them. They are gonna be better. Why go outside and let everybody free when you can make a utopia and make everything better for everybody? And then he ends up betraying his partner. The biggest villains in history are made because they think they're doing the right thing. Because they think their choices are better than everybody's choices, and they could fix everything. That always requires sacrifice. The sacrifice of their friends, their sacrifice of liberties, and that is literally what makes these villains corrupt. You just replace one tyrant for a new tyrant, because power always corrupts everybody, no matter what. And this is the story of how you shouldn't really trust anybody just because they tell you. But after everybody fights so hard, they're basically already sold on the story. They're already convinced that this is the change they needed. Some time passes and we could see that the wall is actually doing quite well. It actually looks like a perfect utopia in here. Everybody's living inside what looks like a suburban neighborhood. Life is relatively good. People are actually thriving. There's food for everyone. Everybody lives in peace. But hidden behind everything is always something ugly. And it is found out that somebody is going around and unaliving people. And so they start this investigation to find out who is causing these bodies, bro. So we have this character right here, which actually has trauma. He has PTSD over the first war they had in the wall, and he was there when this disaster happened, and he actually was there to witness a whole bunch of terrible things, and he has PTSD. He has nightmares about it. You see, the way this new leadership runs is not because anything is different. It just runs in a way where it hides the darkness. It hides secrets from the people. And it is his job to figure out what's going on before the truth is out there and all the supposed peace is destroyed. So this regime works on keeping the secret and keeping the people ignorant. He literally goes all out to find this guy until he catches him. But ironically enough, it is always a consequence that when we think we're doing the right thing, there's unforeseen side effects that always happen because we do not know everything. The guy tells him he was there when the disaster of the avalanche actually happened. Back in the day where he was rescued by a random stranger. So now it's being revealed that he was actually rescued by the good deeds of our hero who was back there trying to save everybody, thinking he was doing the right thing. But at the end, what he was doing,
that's when I knew I was special! You saved me so I could fulfill my destiny. I'm a god!
The unforeseen side effects of our actions, whether we think we're doing the right thing or not, whether we think we are a hero, doesn't necessarily mean that we are a hero at the end of the story. Meanwhile, the leader of the wall is not being so good of a leader after all. He's hiding the secret from people. He's literally out there in his golden palace, suffering from his own thoughts and guilt of the things he did. Meanwhile, he has no idea that she actually survived, and she's out there surviving right now until something happens, something unexpected. And she runs into the Duke. She finds that the Duke is still alive. He's not dead. He's out there. And obviously they hate each other because they try to unalive him and he is like hated by them, and they literally start arguing with each other until they realize that there's even bigger threats out there than themselves. Now that they're not in the wall, politics don't matter. This is a whole new playground with a whole new different set of threats out here. And the politics and the hate they had inside the wall has no space outside of the wall. Outside of the wall, survival is essential. And even if they have to work together to survive, that's a crazy truth that they had to deal with now. They end up in a spaceship toy model that is in the backyard, and they have no choice but to hide there to survive because it's literally the only safe place where they cannot get caught. And they find themselves stuck with the enemy. They have no choice. Who is good? Who is bad? Well, it's all a matter of perspective and the scenario you're in. And right now, they have no choice but to work together. After a long time passes, she is pregnant with who knows this baby. He's already getting very old, and they have grown to be close to each other. Now they're making a plan to escape, and they are literally ready to go out there and face whatever they have to face. And clearly you can see that they care about each other now. All the differences are aside. Even though she tried to unalive him and he unalived the whole wall, everything is forgotten. And in an unexpected way, something happens where they're in danger, and the Duke reacts in a way that nobody expected. He literally throws his life to protect her. That's how much people could change depending on their scenario and their circumstances. What is evil? What is good? Only the position you're put in life. They literally grew to love each other, to see each other as family, considering that they had to survive together. They had to go through so many things together that now she was gonna unalive him. And now she can't stand that he is about to die. That goes to show that we never know how people are, why they are how they are, and what consequences turned them that way. She did learn one thing from this. Stay out of politics, mind your own business. Nobody's good, nobody's evil. Just live your life with what's most important.
What if people out there are suffering?
You're a good man. But protecting Pesley is what's important now. Fuck everybody else.
People still remember her like a hero, a legend that defeated the Duke, and they have no idea. But people want leaders and heroes.
You don't need a hero. What the wall needs is a queen.
The lesson here being that perspective is everything. If you're on one side of the war, you think you're doing the right thing and you're the good guys. If you're on the other side of the war, you think you're the good guy. But at the end, in war, everybody's evil. There's no good sides in war. And there are unforeseen consequences that you don't know about that you will cause. The crazy thing about it is that absolutely everybody is corrupted by war, no matter how righteous they think they are. And after all the choices are made and you choose a team, at the end, you gotta face the consequences.
A few moments later.